Meeting of the North Little Rock Planning Commission to order, please. Ms. Keisha, would you please call the roll?
White, Phillips, Foster, Dietz, Chambers, Blasco. Here. Banks.
Here.
Alexander, Chairman Clifton.
Here. I hear a motion.
Please excuse the absent members.
Second.
Motion made and seconded that those not present be excused. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Please remember, if you have your cell phones with you, please remember to turn them off. And if you're wanting an answer possibly about Planning Commission procedures, those are on the back of the agenda if you'd like to pick up a copy. You have been submitted a copy of the minutes from our previous meeting. Is there any corrections or additions?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. They be approved as submitted. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Mr. Don Chambers will take over our Development Review Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Development Review Committee met and considered item SD 2017-53 North Shore Business Park, lots 6R1 and 6R2, Block 5, a replat of an industrial lot into two lots located at 7691 North Shore Place. The applicant was present and agreed to items 1 through 9 and subsections, and with that, the Development Review Committee recommends approval.
Second.
Motion made and seconded that be approved as submitted. Are there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this application? Any comments from any of the commissioners? All in favor of the application, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
We considered item SD 2017-54 Faith Mission Baptist Church, Lot 1R, site plan review of a parking lot and addition to a church located at 109 Tanglewood Drive. The applicant was present and agreed to items 1 through 8 and subsections, and with that, the Development Review Committee recommends approval.
Second.
Motion made and seconded that this application be approved as submitted. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this application? Any comments made of the commissioners? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
SD 2017 was the last item on our agenda, 2017-40 Family Dollar Edition, Lot 1, a replat of a commercial lot located at 5609 MacArthur Drive. The applicant was present and agreed to items 1 through 9 and subsections, and with that, the Development Review Committee recommends approval.
Second.
Motion made and seconded that this application be approved as submitted. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this application? Any comments made of the commissioners? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. That completes our Development Review Committee report. We'll move into our public hearings. First item on the agenda today is special use case number 2017-11 to allow outside diagnostic and service work on diesel trucks from an accessory building in the front yard of an I-1 zone located at 11,600 Maybelline Road. Is the applicant here? Please come up and give us your name for the record, please. Yes, sir, right here. Give us your name.
John Woods.
Okay. Mr. Woods, you have made an application to operate this building or operate this business, and you're needing a special use case to do that. It requires a special use to do that. You have been before the Design Review Committee, and there have been some conditions placed on this. Have you read those?
Uh-huh.
Are you in favor of all of those?
Yeah, except I had to buy a motorhome the last time back in 2012, and I'm going to permanently park it there, but nobody lives in it. It's just, I bought it, I put all that money on it, and so I can't sell it. So nobody lives in it. that's part of the reason for the fence, is I got a semi-truck and a trailer and a motorhome with a trailer. So, that's part of the fence purpose, and to store customers' vehicles overnight when needed. But
That is,
nobody lives in it.
Is this a picture of that mobile home you're talking about?
No, that's the portable building. But
But you're
the
gonna put you're gonna move two,
two vehicles that I have at Jimmy Doyle's,
okay, so
All
you're
the
gonna put this
time.
portable building, and what's the other one you're gonna put on there? No mobile home?
no mobile home, no, a motor home.
Oh, motor home, okay.
Motorhome, yeah. I mean, I bought it back in 2012,
It's gonna sit there.
huh?
It's just gonna sit there.
Yeah, I'm gonna run electricity back to that lot so I can plug it in.
well,
You gonna live in it?
No,
Okay.
no, I have a house right off McCain.
guess that would bring a question,
Yeah.
if you're just gonna leave it there, why would you need electricity to it?
Because I run the air conditioners and the heater, because the wife uses it as her bathroom.
Okay.
And we watch TV when no one's there, no customers.
Number 10 on this,
But, it said not to park or, I don't know. Let's see,
number 10.
no overnight parking and/or sleeping. Well, I overnight park it at Jimmy Doyle's, been there since 2012, except when I take it out on work-related.
Okay,
trips.
Mr. Woods, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak for or against this application?
There's one other thing that I thought of. I could put a fence that you can't see through, like in front of it. I'll put it as high as you need,
Well,
I don't know what the fence types are called, but I found a picture of one that I would,
Excuse me just a minute, Mr. Woods. The drawing that you have submitted is what we're looking at. It could not be amended at this time.
I told Tim this week
Yes,
that I
sir.
would put a fence up.
Yes, sir, but you didn't submit a new drawing.
No, I
asking
didn't.
for what you're wanting.
I didn't
So
submit a new
What we would
drawing.
have to do at this time is to make our judgment on what you're wanting to do, what you've already presented.
Okay.
Okay, excuse me just a second. There is someone that would like to speak against this application. Please come up and give us your name for the record, please.
I wonder what that is right there.
Hello,
That is right there.
I'm Patsy Brewer, and my husband and I, Jimmy Doyle Brewer, own Jimmy Doyle Country Club. We strongly oppose Mr. Woods going next door to us. I have many reasons that I just brought, so we won't have to go into everything that y'all could look over later, so I won't take up a lot of time. I don't think Mr. Woods is capable of telling the truth. There's been many things that he's promised you as the commission and us that hasn't been fulfilled. The motorhome, a semi-truck, the list goes on and on. It just kept adding to our property over the years of more things that he pulled in, and we would kindly ask that he not bring them in, and he would just keep bringing it in and ignore us. We also had given him an eviction notice of things that we were not happy about, and he has not moved yet. And I hope that I don't wind up having to get an attorney just to get him to move. And I'm worried about things like environmental, of oil and things at the business. It's real junked up, it's hard, like around our front door and things like that. But far as him going next door, I don't think there's room. We've experienced that in the past, and I've never been here to complain before. We've been there for 28 years about anything. And there was another business out there, and it got to where the truck traffic was so bad that when we would lock our gates, this is prior to him being there, that the trucks would park along the service road, and it would create a traffic jam where we couldn't even get to our business. I'm afraid of that happening again. We have 7 acres where we're at. Where he's proposing to move, it's very small. And there's at least 10 trucks at a time lined up. Also, Mr. Woods is not doing what he promised he would do. What we were under the impression he was going to do is work on computers. There has been mechanic work, bringing the trucks into our lot with mechanic work, and we're just, it's not a pleasant thing. And I have things that, and I don't want to get into problems with neighbors, but I have things that have gone on in the past next door to me where he's proposing to put this, that's very unpleasant. And the only way I knew to do that was bring y'all pictures so you could just see for yourself, and I wouldn't have to stand up here and just go over that. I don't want to try to dog anybody out. That's not what I'm here about. It's just that I am concerned because
Okay.
I try to keep my place clean.
Okay, Ms. Doyle, thank you.
I'm sorry? So you want-
Mr. Banks?
Yes, you mentioned an eviction notice. Who owns the property?
I'm sorry?
Who owns the property? What's the eviction portion that you're referring to?
The eviction was back a couple of months ago, and he's still there, that we would like for him to leave our property. We own the property, my husband and I,
So you all own the property, he's renting the
that he's
property?
on now. And we're trying to get him to move now. But next door,
Hold on,
we
Mr.
do not
Woods.
want it next door
Just a minute,
to
please.
us either, because of what's going on. And I mean, we've already experienced it, so we don't want any more of it, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, so the property that he's moving to
Does not belong to us.
does
no.
not own, does not belong by you all?
No. No,
But
he is
the,
currently on our property, and
Oh,
we would
okay.
like for him to move from ours. But the things that's going on our property and things that have gone on next door on the other property, which I have here, gives us reason why we don't want him next door to us either.
As a neighbor?
Yes, sir.
Right. But
Yes, sir.
if we were to allow this and he moved, I mean, if we allowed this, he would be moving next door to you all?
Next
And
door
next
to
door
me.
to where his current operation is that what you're saying?
I'm sorry. Now,
Yes, sir, that's right,
I
Mr.
think that's
Banks.
correct, but I can't quite, yeah. He would be moving next door to our property.
Which is next door to where he's located right
From
now?
where he's located right now. And plus,
Ms. Doyle,
he
would
is
you
in the
like-
back.
Would you pass those pictures around,
He's in the
please?
back of our area right now.
Let's see these
and-
pic-
And this would be putting him in the front of the interstate.
Do you have a copy of a letter?
Let me get some of this, y'all. But that's just, I didn't have the signed copy because I couldn't find it, but I have it somewhere.
Ms. Doyle, do you have a copy of a letter where you've sent to him to, wanting him to move or
Yes,
be
I
evicted?
do, but I didn't get the signed copy because I was in a hurry trying to get all this together.
Okay,
I
but,
have it.
okay.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chambers?
Sean, Ms. Brewer brings up a point regarding the location of the applicant behind her building, which if the commissioners will look on the aerial, you can see there's a building with a red roof behind their building, which corresponds with the picture that we were given of the building that the applicant would, that Mr. Woods would like to move on. So I'm thinking, if, I don't know, if Sean could help us out, is that a depiction of the current number of vehicles? It looks like there's one 18-wheeler there being worked on, a pickup truck, and it appears to be a motorhome and another vehicle. And I mean, is that, am I looking at that correctly?
Correct. This, the picture, I'm guessing, is taken when Jimmy Doyle's is not open. So you
Yes,
notice there's
I understand.
no one else in the parking lot, so all that activity in the back would be with Mr. Woods.
Okay, okay, it gives me an idea of the scale of the operation. Okay, thank you.
Okay, the staff has made a determination that this not be approved because it's a portable building and accessory structure in the front yard of an existing property and building to be used for commercial use. Is that correct, Mr. Spencer?
That is correct.
Okay.
So we have not in the past approved an accessory structure in the front yard for a commercial use.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Foster?
Sean, in item number 7 on the conditions, it talks about the structure in front. Is that the old car wash building has tires on top of it, is that the one you're talking about?
Correct.
And under the conditions, he'd be required to remove that from the site, is that correct?
Correct. I had the building official for the city go out and
Right.
look at the building to see if it can be remodeled, and he's here if you have any questions with the building
I
official.
have no
but
doubt
he
about
could not, he said the building could not be remodeled. It was too far gone. It'd be cheaper to build something
Sure,
new
right.
than to
Okay.
try to remodel it.
Mr. Wood, you mentioned that you wanted to keep the
Excuse me, Ms. Doyle, let him come up.
you mentioned you wanted to keep the RV there with power to it, so you and your wife could use the restrooms in there
And keep it air conditioned
and keep it air
heated.
conditioned on, but also item number 5 says requires you to install restrooms in the new portable building you're moving to the
Right.
site. So
Right.
why do you need both of them?
Well, I don't let
it raises-
anybody in that motorhome. So my customers would need somewhere to use a bathroom. I don't let them in the motorhome. That costs too much money to have a truck driver in there getting comfortable.
Okay,
Well, that, lends a credibility to what Ms. Doyle's talking about, because this is the first time I've heard about, an RV going on the site. So, it's just kind of, what else are we going to end up with here is a concern.
That's all. I mean, it's in the pictures. My semi-truck. I mean, basically, that's, when I used to do computer work, there were trucks that came in that had other problems. And then they would pay me to work on their computer, drive out, and then they said, I still got the same problem. So over time, I had to learn and teach myself what those other problems likely were. And to be honest, 9 out of 10 trucks on the highway, the charge air cooler that cools the air from the turbo before it goes into the engine are leaking. So when the turbo is leaking out the front of the truck, it doesn't have any power. So
Yeah.
Okay,
But
but
that
I
didn't have anything
hook
to do
an
with it.
airline up
Let's-
to the engine.
Mr. Wood, I'm very, very much pro-business, and I've gone every which way to try
I'm
to
the
make this
best at
work.
what I do. I hope I can
Excuse me,
stay
Mr.
here.
Don't interrupt
Woods.
me, okay? I'm trying to be your friend,
Okay.
and I can. I mean, it's hard for me to go with this thing.
I'm
the way
deaf.
it's
I
been
can't even
proposed.
hardly hear you talk.
It's gonna be hard. I mean, I don't know how we can do this, I'll be honest with you.
Well, that's what they said.
well, if I
I'd already
understood,
paid for the
excuse me,
application.
Mr. Woods, excuse me, please. If I understood Mr. Spencer right, you have had code to go out there, or the building inspector to go out there and look at the property?
The building official with the city has looked at that, whatever out front, the shelter, whatever you want to call, and has determined that it is, and he's here if you want to ask him himself, that it cannot be remodeled and fixed. There's a picture of it in the back there. And so either if this gets approved, he's going to be required to remove it. If it does not get approved, the owner of the property is going to have to remove it, because right now it's unsafe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what we're looking at then, if this gets approved, that would have to be removed. He would bring in a new portable building, set it on this location, set a RV on this location, and what else was it?
Semi-truck,
And a semi-truck on this location.
trailer. Yeah, that's where the fencing, 75 feet of fencing.
Portable building would have to be up to city codes with bathrooms and everything in it.
Correct.
Okay, and we don't even know if there is facilities there for a bathroom.
There are.
If you could put a new building on it. Okay,
There was a mobile home there
okay.
for 25 years.
Anyone else want
All-
to speak on this application? Any comments from the commissioners? On the application, Ms. Kisa, please call the roll.
Foster,
No.
Dietz, Chambers,
No.
Blasco,
No.
Banks,
No.
Chairman Clifton.
No. Your application did not pass, Mr. Woods. you can speak with Mr. Spencer. You do have the right to go before the city council. If you can get a sponsor from the city council, alderman, to sponsor it and take your application to the city council. The recommendation will come from the planning commission that this will not be passed, but they certainly can override us and pass it.
I'm not going to do that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Woods.
All right.
Okay, next item on the agenda, special use case number 2017-14 to allow cabinet manufacturing in a C3 zone located at 5513 MacArthur Drive. Is the applicant here? Yes, sir. Give us your name for the record, please.
Matthew Harden.
And you have you been supplied some conditions that were considered?
Yes, sir.
And you agree with those conditions?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak for or against this application? Okay, any questions, Mr. Chambers?
Yes, Mr. Spencer, it says, with reference to the single-family house existing on the lot, can someone live there for security purposes and things like that?
Yes, it is a house right now, and we're asking for it to stay as a house. And if there's anything different in it, and they need to come back and amend it.
Okay. It seems like a big advantage to have a house on the property that someone could live in and maintain security on your property, so.
Possibly some employees that can't get to work on time.
I wasn't expecting that answer, but yeah, that would work too. Okay, thank you, Sean.
Any other comments from any other commissioners? On the application, please call the roll.
Foster,
Yes.
Dietz, Chambers,
Yes.
Plasko,
Yes.
Banks,
Yes.
Chairman Clifton.
Yes, your application did pass. Get with Mr. Spencer and he can tell you what your next
Okay,
step
thank you,
would
sir.
be. Thank you.
Good luck.
Next item on our agenda is number 3, a conditional use to allow an outdoor auto storage in an I-1 zone located at 7303 Highway 70. Would the applicant please come up and give us your name for the record, please?
Jeff Hooker.
And you're wanting to take the formerly diesel truck driving training facility and move your operation into this?
Yes, sir.
I am familiar with Mr. Hook and his operation. He does operate a tow yard on the corner of Highway 70 and I-440. He's been there for quite a few years. He does run a clean operation, does keep his cars lined up nice and in a good presentable condition, as well as wrecked automobiles can be. But with that, is there anyone in the audience? Mr. Chambers?
Yes, sir. How do you handle, this is an odd question, how do you handle rodent control on a property like this? When you have the
Rodent control?
storing the cars there and all?
Haven't really had an issue. I did
Okay.
with my building this year, this winter. The field mice
They moved in?
inundated, but we
Okay.
took care of that. But really, from a vehicle standpoint, no, sir, never.
Okay,
Never had a
I didn't know. I
No,
always
sure, yeah.
associate
It's fully
junkyards.
fenced.
I always associate junkyards with urban wildlife, so.
Understand.
Dynamite.
Okay, any other comments from the commissioners? Anyone in the audience would like to speak on this application? No comments from the commissioners on the application. Ms. Keeper, please call the roll.
Foster,
Yes.
Dietz, Chambers,
Yes.
Plasko,
Yes.
Banks,
Yes.
Chairman Clifton.
Yes, your application did pass, Mr. Hook, and you can see Mr. Spencer, and he can tell you what your next step would be. You have been supplied with a list of actions taken by the city council that had came before our commission, so you'd like to look over those. This is our public comment section. Anybody have a public comment that they would like to voice at this time? Mr. Dietz?
Yes, sir, I want us to, Sean, to consider changing the situation with Office Warehouse. We had a situation come before our planning commission that was in DMB Commercial Park out there. There's where Glazers is and the furniture warehouse, as well as the Riverside Marine and Voc Transportation, and I find it, me personally, finds it burdensome, and I would think that other folks would feel the same way. For an office-type warehouse, because all of those buildings out there have offices and warehouses to go with them.
And everything out there is zoned commercial, isn't it?
Zone C4.
Right. So you're wanting to add office warehouse to C4?
Well, I don't know that,
Could you give us a scenario of what?
In that case, I mean, we'd rezone it to industrial to allow it by right. But I don't know if you want to put office warehouse up and down JFK or something.
I don't.
Are we about to consider a reconsideration of our zoning regulations, so that could be taken up over time?
Yeah, hopefully in the next year or so, we're going to be looking at a lot of items, but we can add that to the list if you'd like us to.
Well, it's, I mean, the warehouses that are there, I'm not sure that we had to go through that procedure. I don't know when it was added, because I've owned that property for
What is that zoning there now?
C4.
C4, yeah. Okay, and to operate an office warehouse, what does it have to be zoned?
In general, it's I-1, but there are some particulars that have been pulled out and allowed in C4. So it's sort of matters if you're doing something in general that you're going to come out and lease, we might have to do a conditional use. But if it's particular,
I think what he may be referring to is if you have a warehouse that is an indoor warehouse storage that is an I-1 or I-2 use, that is zone C4, then you have to come and get a special use in order to put the I-1 warehouse
Correct.
and office use together.
correct.
In a C4 district?
In a C4 district. So if you're wanting to do an I-1 use in C4, it's a conditional use.
Okay. I think that's what I'm understanding you wanting to address,
Well,
is remove a classification.
obviously, I don't want an office warehouse on JFK.
You know, it also gets down to, at what point do you consider a business and an industrial? Like, a lot of businesses along JFK, you know, they got offices, little office there, and they got warehouse, you know, and they got commercial sales. You know, some of them got, you know, like the Ladin Rug, they got a big warehouse, you know, a storage room there. Mardell's and those kind of places, they got large stock rooms and so on. At what point do you consider, well, is it commercial in that regard, or is it industrial, is big warehouse with some office areas to it, you know? I guess, is it the retail that pulls it into the commercial? But like Glazers, you know, they're wholesale, not retail, so. I've always wondered about the same thing as what he's talking about, is how do we distinguish, where's the line of demarcation between one and the other?
Here's an example, and you brought up the rug place. So carpet sales and warehouse is allowed in C4.
Okay,
So some point in the past, the board had decided to pull that out of I-1 and allow it in C4.
so there's.
So there's some office warehouses that are allowed in C4.
So our chart for allowable uses in each of the zones is what kind of helps make that distinction of where places go then. Okay,
And some, like carpets, or maybe lighting, for example.
Yeah,
They may
right.
have a large warehouse, Tech Electric, for example.
Yeah, right.
I can see how those, I mean, would you put those on McCain? You know, well, Tech Electric on McCain wouldn't be offensive. It's a pretty building, pretty lighting. But, I don't know if I'd necessarily want Acme Brick there, for example. Nice warehouse, nice showroom, but at the same time, a large part of it is a rather industrial warehouse facility.
they store stuff outside, you know. and
They store stuff
that
outside,
would
they have
kill that,
concrete
yeah.
supplies, things like this. So I really like having the say-so. I'm not saying there aren't uses that I wouldn't
Well, allowable
necessarily approve.
uses kind of, we might need to, when we look at this,
Well,
better define the allowable uses in the
This,
zones.
this situation I was talking about is for a pharmacy. They're gonna build a 15,000 square foot warehouse. I mean, we've already gone through the process and it's approved.
Right.
And, it's a pharmacy that does not, you can't walk in off the street.
Not retail.
And get your prescription
Right.
filled. They, do nursing home prescriptions is what they do. Out of 15,000 feet, probably 10,000 of it's office. 5,000 is gonna be warehouse. They don't have docks, you know.
Well, it may be that
Is-
that kicks in based on percentage, when the percentage of warehouse drops below the percentage that is office. Maybe that's when you actually slip over into the C4 area. So I'm sure we can discuss it later, over the
Well, I
next
mean,
year
I
or
just
so,
wanted to bring
as we
it up.
consider it.
Food for thought.
Yes.
Put that on your list, Sean.
In that, I wish you'd make a note to see if something like that would be allowable at the staff level of their discretion.
Yeah.
Uses, probably not. It's either got to be black and white in the book. So if it's not in the book, we got to call it a special use.
Well, I understand, but if we're fixing to talk about trying to rework that particular one, could that not, something like that be added?
We could look at it, yeah.
Yeah. I just think that a lot of times, when it's clearly defined, staff knows what it is and is aware of everything that's going on with it,
No variances?
and no variances, nothing else, that we do an injustice to the applicant a lot of times, because sometimes it might take a full 6 weeks
Yep.
before he can know anything, whether he can use the property or not. And if staff has that discretion, and they are fully confident of what's going on under the guidelines that hopefully we could propose, that there be something in that ordinance that would allow the staff to make that determination.
Okay. That would be very applicable on site plan approval. That's what I'm thinking, of site plan approval. And then always, Sean, you could always defer if you think it's going to be controversial or whatever.
Yeah.
You can always defer it back to us, you know. Obviously, I think we need to do that. But I'm with Chairman Clifton on this, very much so, is we need to make our system over here as streamlined as we can for those folks out there that are trying to do business in the city of North Little Rock.
We can look into it.
Okay, good. Any others?
Thank you.
Moved, we adjourn, sir.
Motion
Second.
made and seconded, we adjourn. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.